If you like weird and strange history as much as I do, then I have the podcast for you. I'm Jason Horton, host of Strange Year. Each episode, I break down the strange history and cultural happenings during that year, like 1977, the Wow Signal, 1963, Three Tramps Theory, 1844, the Millerite Movement, 1997, the Phoenix Lights, 1896, the Shortest War, 2004, Benjamin Kyle, 1518, the Dancing Plague, 1985, the Move Bombing, 1972, remote viewing. So to get your weekly weird history fix, pause the podcast you're listening to right now and subscribe to Strange Year wherever you listen to podcasts.
Well, welcome back to the Yes Year Podcast, episode 15. Wow, 15 episodes. That is madness. My name is James, and I am here, of course, with my hilarious co-host, Beth. Beth, what is up?
The ceiling. Ha!
Any exciting news or recent events to tell us about?
I got a tattoo yesterday, my very first one.
What?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a frog.
Sweet.
It's got a cool party hat on it.
Of course.
He does a lot of late night drinking.
Of course. Maybe you can post a picture in the group so people can see it?
Yeah.
Or not. That's up to you.
I don't know.
What else you got?
Not much. You got anything?
That was pretty much the highlight coming up on for the past couple weeks, and now it's done. Well, I got that. Nah.
You got anything?
I got mutton.
You never got anything.
I'm boring.
My back hurts from supporting our interesting lives.
Blasphemy. Well, very cool, very cool. So we're kind of decided on every fifth movie we review, Beth is going to go ahead and get to pick the review. So this week, being 15, Beth has chosen Encino Man. Now, before you say, hey, that's not from the 80s, I know. But you have to remember that the show is not just 80s based. It's based on movies from the past, and this movie is certainly from the past. And basically, really stuff that was before you were born, and that really opens up quite a plethora.
Yeah, but I wanted to watch this movie because I've seen this I think maybe twice before, and this is a good movie to me. Like, it's one of my.
How dare you? That was my next question. What made you choose Encino Man to review?
Was it really?
Yeah.
Well, here's my answer.
Yeah, what you got?
It's one of those movies that I would come downstairs, or I guess not down. Yeah, downstairs, and it would just be on the TV, and I'd be like, "Oh, what you guys watching?" And I'd come in like a third of the way in, and just watch. And I didn't remember much of this movie like I did last episode when we did. What did we do last episode? What was last episode?
Better Off Dead. Better Off Dead.
That's right. Sorry. I remember that movie to a key.
Double blasphemy.
I forgot. I'm sorry. It's been a long week. And so for this one, I remember certain parts of it, and that's why I was kind of like, oh, what's that one movie that goes like this? And you were like, oh, this movie. And I was like, yeah, we should do that one. So I was really excited to do this one again, because to me, it'll be like that nostalgic feeling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it was. So
cool.
I was looking forward to that.
So it's actually a movie that I have watched many times and would happily do so again. Obviously, if you've seen it when you came downstairs, who was probably watching it? Me.
Yeah.
When this movie came out, I think it really represented the times well. I could relate to these characters and how they acted, spoke, and dress. The 90s put out a lot of these movies, I think, that were not over-the-top special effects or some deep story. Just a story about some buds, some dudes, and a little something that happened to them. And let's face it, for the time, Pauly Shore was on top of his game with being the Weasel, all of his MTV fame. He had show after show after show that came on MTV and everything like that. And I think he was even a VJ for a while. So, yeah, yes. When MTV had music on it, and they used to show videos, they had VJs, like a DJ, a radio, VJ, a video.
Yeah.
And he was one of those. And yeah, MTV used to be really good. There used to be the spot where you got all the new music and all the everything they had. It was just a good channel, but I don't really watch it. And now it's just all that drama crap, and has been for decades, it seems. Sean Astin is a fan fave, of course, from the Goonies and everything else that he was in the 80s. And Brendan Fraser was just coming onto the scene and was the hot new thing. So, if you throw in an interesting story about a caveman waking up in the 90s, and poof, you have the magic of Encino Man. So, of course, question for you. Initial impression of what the movie is going to be like?
So I am watching. So I had a good first impression, obviously, because this is a childhood movie to me.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I've seen this before. In my memory, it's pretty good. Did you know the Rotten Tomatoes for this is only 15%?
Wow.
Yeah, really low.
See, again, it's Pauly Shore. And I think that when you could not throw a rock without hitting some kind of Pauly Shore reference in this part of the 90s and everything like that. And everybody loved it and everything like that. But then just like it was making me think of like New Kids on the Block, a band, or maybe NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. When they come out, everybody likes them, everybody loves them, everything like that. But then eventually they hit that plateau, and then all of a sudden, if you're listening to them, there's something wrong with you. Does that make sense? Like New Kids on the Block were it, man. I mean, like our school raised pennies for pride. We all donated all kinds of money to win a free concert to go and see New Kids on the Block. We did. Our school won. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And so we went to it, but then all of a sudden it was like the next year, if you were a New Kids fan, there was something wrong with you. Like, oh, you like them. I mean, like, it was a real big stink. And it almost seems like it's the same thing. Like, he was a fad. He had this movie. He had Son-in-Law. He had In the Army Now. But then he started to make movies after that. And it was like, Pauly Shore movie, blah. Kind of like Adam Sandler, where you had Adam Sandler movies. And they were, like, really, really great throughout a whole certain amount of time, and then they just like fell off, and then then it was like, oh, another Adam Sandler movie. Ugh. So, and that's kind of ranty, but that's really fair. Probably that's why it probably got a low Rotten Tomato score, because it probably is seen as just one. I mean, you know what? I would venture to say, if you look at a whole bunch of Rotten Tomato scores for movies from this time, they're probably really low.
Yeah, I don't base off of that. Right. I just find it interesting to watch or like see that and then be like, oh, okay, weird. Because, obviously I think our dynamic is where you come into these movies having watched them as a child, and so that's why we're doing them. But you have I guess you would call it like a soft spot for these movies. Right. So you're not looking at these as critically as I am coming into them. Because most of these movies I've seen for either once or like halfway through, and then we're going into them. So I'm, overly critical for some of them, where I'm like going into it, storyline, this, characters, that. And so I like to think about that. That's kind of what I put into my consideration with these things. So when they have like low scores like that, and I've seen the movie like that, I'm like, wow, what about this is going to be like that? But even after watching this movie, there's no reason to have that low of a score.
No, and it's a fun bro movie. I mean, it's a watch on the afternoon, watching everything like that. A fun date night movie. Yeah. Like if it was like second date, and I was like, hey, you want to go see a movie? Like, I would take a girl to see Encino Man, because it's fun, it's light, it's nothing too heavy. There's a little bit of a romance, but nothing that's so horrible that, that you're like, oh my God, like taking somebody like Sleepless in Seattle is like, which
I've never seen.
With that face. I love that face when I get it, because I say something, you're like, yeah, blink, blink. I have no clue what you're talking about. But I mean, that is a romance movie. You're going to that. It's Tom Hanks and Sally Fields.
Say less. Tom Hanks.
And not Sally Fields. I'm sorry. Meg Ryan, Sally Fields. How dare I?
I don't know. Blasphemy. That's
Sally Fields was his mom in Forrest Gump.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's really weird.
Well, a funny thing about that. I know I'm such a nerd with things. In the year before, they were in a movie called Punchline, where she was his love interest, and the next year they did Forrest Gump, or next 1 or 2 years, and she played his mom. So, yeah.
Weird.
But definitely not Meg Ryan, who is in Sleepless in Seattle. So, that's far off. So,
I was gonna say something. I forgot what it was.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
Blink, blink.
There's a fun fact. They say if you do forget something, if you blink a bunch, you should remember it.
They say if you look left and right really fast, and I always tell people to do that, and I
feel like it's just gonna make me look stupid.
Yeah, well, that's probably why people tell me to do it, and I do it.
Oh, I was gonna say.
See, it worked.
I was blinking. So, I was gonna say that this is one of those movies that kind of feel like when you can just like enter it halfway through, and be fine.
Yeah,
because they kind of revisit certain things in a way that's fluent. Like for example, when what's his name? Matt, I think.
Matt the bully?
Yeah, he goes into the house and gets the pictures, and it's the caveman pictures. If you entered at that point, you're like, okay, I see what's going on.
I got you.
You know, so it's when I like when movies do that. Same with Beetlejuice, you can gotta get that as well. You know, if you
get the gist of what's going on. Clearly, they're trying to get these people, the deets out.
Because you know, in like game shows, we're like, oh, if you're just now joining us, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that in a sense.
That's fun. I like that.
So, but anyways, watch the trailer for this. I gave it a 3 out of 5 for the trailer, which isn't very high, I realize. But it was a different way to do the trailer, and it was humorous, but it was just kind of bland to a degree.
Okay.
Did you watch the trailer?
I've seen it. I didn't watch it again. Sorry.
No. It would make sense if you watched the trailer so you knew what I was talking about. But I gave it a 3 out of 5 simply for the fact that it was a different way to do it. Because they kind of go in and it's kind of like, back in the old age, ...
Yes.
A man. So it's not like just narrator where it's like, in certain town, blah, 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 we see a man. He's doing this.
Yeah.
So it was a nice way to do it, but it wasn't like super interesting. But would I watch it based on the trailer? Yeah, I'd watch it based on the trailer.
Fantastic.
Based on the DVD art? Maybe. It wasn't anything like special.
Right.
And it wasn't eye-catching in a sense. And the poster art was the same. It was also a maybe. Nothing.
I really cannot stress enough how 90s this movie is. Like, this really is the epitome of this time frame. All of, like, Clerks. I know, you gave me the look. Clerks.
I know what a clerk is. I just
it's a movie called Clerks,
okay.
And it's nothing special. It's nothing. Devil's Advocate's got a picture of Keanu Reeves sitting there with Al Pacino with his hands on his shoulders. I mean, these are movies that are excellent movies. I mean, just far out there. The art's just fantastic. It's not really.
Yeah.
That's really an 80s thing, I think.
And you know, I mean, I'm just saying, if I was in this timeline, or if I was here, if I was this age, then it's just something that like a friend would have had to recommend it to me for me to be like, okay, well, let's go watch it. Or it's like one of those things where we're like going to the movies. Well, what do we watch? Oh, well, Encino Man sounds kind of okay.
Yeah, I got you.
I meant to ask, how did you see trailers at this time? Because it's not like you can go on YouTube and look it up like I do. Was it on the TV?
You saw them before movies and some on TV. Yeah.
So they played the trailer before the movie started.
Yeah, you know how you get the previews? No. You know how you get previews?
Of other movies?
Of other movies?
Yeah.
That's how you'd see it.
Oh.
So you'd have to be going to the movies. And then on, if you rented movies...
Oh, it didn't... Yeah, okay.
Then we had previews before movies.
Because we have a lot of old DVDs that do that still.
Yep. So if you rented the movies, then they would put it on there, and then... Sometimes, man, I'm telling you, Bo, you can't even trust the preview, because sometimes the preview would be like, oh, man, that's going to be a fantastic... And you watch the movie and you're like...
A very good example of this would be the Babadook movie. The trailer for that made it sound like it was going to be terrifying. That was going to be a jump, horror, and everything. That movie was a psychological movie.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how angry I was watching that movie.
Same thing happened with, The Boogeyman. When we went, we brought that up before when it was supposed to be like, oh, it was going to be this real, and it was just garbage. It was all in pretty much his mind. Not even, like, somehow he created it, so he undid it, and all the things flew. I don't know, it was stupid.
I get so worked up when people, oh, the Babadook is such a good movie. Don't even talk to me. If you like the Babadook, turn off the podcast right now. Unsubscribe.
Oh, jeez.
I don't want to talk to you.
No, we don't want to lose anybody.
If they had marketed it as a psychological movie, then it would have been like, okay. But you haven't watched The Boy. The Boy is on Netflix, which we were watching, and it is marketed as a horror movie to a degree.
Yeah.
And then there's a giant twist, and it's like, boom.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
that's a good movie. The Babadook?
Yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Absolute garbage.
Sorry. No, that's fine.
Not to get off topic.
No, you're good.
I'm just so angry at that movie. If the creators of the Babadook are listening, I have some words.
Right, yeah, write us at...
Right, yeah, email us at the Yesteryear Podcast.
Yeah, at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Okay.
I want to
have some discussion. A physical discussion.
What's your favorite type of tea? I'll have you over.
Oh.
We only have black for you, though.
Black
no
tea.
sugars.
And prune pie.
And prune pie. It's hateful.
So, Encino Man is a story about two school outcasts finding a frozen caveman in the backyard when they decide to dig a pool.
You ever dig a pool?
No. And I mean, I'm going to tell you what, for somebody to be able to dig a pool like he did and have the dimensions and everything like that, and P.S. dig a pool, kudos to him, man. And that thing was deep. So, yeah.
I'm not getting in it.
No, not without a liner and everything. That makes no sense. It's just going to be mud, but
yeah,
whatever.
Sickies.
Sickies. When the caveman thaws, he's alive, so they decide to introduce him to modern life, and he shows them how to enjoy life.
Oh, we're just jumping into the movie?
Oh, no, I'm just giving you this is just the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what it's about.
I was like, you just skipped like 30 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, right, I know. Like, wait, did I miss something? So the storyline is short, sweet, and to the point. Nothing flashy, nothing glamorous. Encino Man opened on May 22nd, 1992, and it had a budget of $7 million. In its first weekend, it made almost $10 million, with a cumulative gross of over $40 million worldwide. So it definitely was a hit, as I would say.
Yeah, no.
So a good movie would have been $14 million. If they had made $14 million, they'd have been like, oh, all right, we made our money back. $40 million. And it got a what on Rotten Tomato? 15?
15%.
So you tell me that at that point, see, that's what I'm saying. It's jaded. It's people looking back and saying something, oh, well, now. Yeah, well, if Rotten Tomatoes had done it that year, it would have been a 90. You know? So,
yeah.
I mean, whatever. I don't go by other people's reviews anyway, like you said. As I stated before, the movie stars Sean Astin of Goonies, Pauly Shore the Weasel, and Brendan Fraser.
Who do you play in the Goonies?
He played the main character.
Yes. Okay, sorry. I had to get the face in my head. I couldn't remember the faces. I'm really bad with names.
Okay.
And faces. I just want to make that clear to everybody else. If you aren't in my main, 5 people that I see every day,
if you don't have a beef
I'm not going to remember your face.
Yeah, I said it.
That wasn't even a good insert there.
Face.
You're not allowed to make that joke. You got angry a bit.
I am angry about it.
Can't make the beaver joke. That's my thing.
So, they got a supporting cast for the movie, but I'm not really going to get into it. It's set in Encino, California, although it was filmed in Santa Clarita, California, which I think is where, or very close to where Lost Boys was filmed. I think.
Well, I don't know.
But it really had a grasp on what youth was like in that day, in the 90s. Early 90s, things were starting to change from the 80s. Dress, music, heck, even how we talk was going through a metamorphosis.
So yeah, I wanted to discuss that. In this movie, they say a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah.
For sure. Like later, a little bit in, Robin says to Dave, ugh, you're drowning? What does that mean?
Because he was going for any kind of anything to get her interested, and she was like, "You're drowning, dude. Like you're failing." I
understand.
You don't get it?
No, I do now. He was saying even and then when the dinner scene where so he's talking to the dad, and he's saying a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah,
none of that made sense.
So don't crust on my gig, so hardcore cruster and stuff like that.
Yeah. But that's stuff you guys actually said.
People absolutely talk like that.
People get a lot of hate now on my generation.
Don't wheeze my gig so hardcore, Cruster, I think is what he actually says. Because he's going through a lot of stuff at his home. His mom's, she's really in a bad place. That's how he says.
I was just thinking, they were talking, and I was like, well, my generation gets a lot of hate about what we say. We use a little bit of slang and stuff, shortening things. But, you can still derive what the meaning is out of that.
Yeah.
He was saying stuff that wasn't even legible. I was like, what is this even? What?
So Cruster, hardcore, whatever. The Weasel who was Pauly Shore,
Yes.
had an entire language that he like created. I'm telling you, you don't know how big this guy was. He defined a generation, in my opinion, from my point of view. Some people hated him. That's okay. But you couldn't get away from him in the 90s. Like, this guy just kept showing back up, and he was everywhere on MTV, and then he was in movies, and he would be on TV, and he still does stand-up comedy. He came here locally a couple years back. My buddy went and saw him. Yeah.
Where were you?
I wanted to go. Mom said I'm not allowed. I'm joking. She didn't say that. I just didn't. I couldn't go. You also have to remember at this time, it was like when the garage bands breakout was happening, such as Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, not Change. They were influenced an entire generation. As stated earlier, MTV VJs, or as they called, like Pauly Shore, were helping to meld what the youth would become. People were not sure of the future, but they knew they had no interest in the 80s and what it had to offer. It really was like meh towards the 80s, because late 80s had a lot of hair bands, is what they were called. Like, a lot of people look like, what's his name from Labyrinth? Jareth. Yeah, that's what they had, big hair and everything like that. And then you had kind of like the New Kids on the Block kind of transitioned. And then all of a sudden you had Nirvana on the scene. You had Soundgarden on the scene. You had Alice in Chains on the scene. They were these garage bands that were coming, the grunge rock type movement. And it changed everything. Like, it really did. And he was, and Pauly Shore was there for that. I mean, he was introducing those videos. He was talking about it. He was interviewing them. He was at the concerts. And yeah, it really was, it was a big change. It was early 90s and everything was changing up. Encino Man really helps to encompass what this change in the youth, and it set the stage for what the 90s would become. It really did. I mean,
Nirvana's really old.
Well, yeah. It's early. Yeah, I think they even had something that came out in the late 80s, but I mean, it wasn't anything big. I mean, their first stuff was 90s, 91, when people were like, holy cow, they could actually grasp them and see what it was. So, and again, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, I'm going to keep saying those three bands because those three kind of set the stage for everybody else, in my opinion, of what would become like a music. Pearl Jam, another one that came a little bit after. It just was. And then after that, you got college rock like Radiohead, but they were further down. That was the next thing that started happening. And by the time then, it was the 90s, and I want to say Clueless had come out in the late 90s. I'm not quite sure. That came out, and that was like the next step in what the 90s would be. So you can actually see in movies, art reflects life. I'm getting deep here.
Yeah.
And the movies are art, and it reflects the sign of the times. And then you would see where movies would come out, but they were just too late to the game. Like right now, if somebody released a zombie movie. Yeah.
And we've talked about that, doing where Hollywood's done movies and movies over and over again. That's why sometimes you'll talk about how you don't want to see certain movies because it's been done so many times.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I mean, same thing with music sometimes. Music, there's some songs that sound like other songs, or they use the same kind of whatever, and, then you can repeat. But, I mean, every year we get a real hit, that comes out that's really good. And same thing with movies, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
Deep conversation.
What year did Clueless come out?
I think 94? That was a really
like a
long
balloon.
I blew up my head like an airhead. I put an airhead in my mouth. My head popped off. You want to look it up real fast?
Yeah, I guess.
96?
Clueless. 95.
95.
I say we should do I'm gonna be like that, but if we do anything with Paul Rudd in it, I'm gonna be really biased.
Well, Paul Rudd's in that.
I know.
Oh, okay.
That's what I just said.
Oh, okay.
If we do any movie with Paul Rudd in it, I'm gonna be very biased. It's already a 5.
Well, at that point in time, he's skinny, sickly Paul Rudd.
He's perfect in every
He's
movie.
Perfect in every. Oh, okay. Well, but again, that was a reflection of. Oh, now we're gonna look at Paul Rudd. All right. So I'm gonna start the movie.
This man does not age. Oh, to be perfect. All right, let's continue.
Whatever. If you're Paul Rudd and you listen to the Yes to Your
Please
podcast,
hit me up. Please hit me up. I don't care that you have a wife.
You're a horrible person.
I would like a handshake at least.
Oh, nice to meet you, Paul Rudd. If we get famous and big, we'll 2 people. I'll get you, Paul Rudd, and I'll get Mom, Ryan Reynolds. But although she's on the track, she's got famous friends. She's tracking it. So, all right,
let's start.
So the movie kicks off pretty fast with few credits before getting to the meat and potatoes.
You know, the intro really was not that good. Like the black screen just name going, and that was it.
Yeah,
and then it started to show different types of land.
Right. It was showing you basically that time. It opens on like wilderness and frozen tundra type land.
Yeah, but it was just kind of, I mean, like the intro, or they're just showing the name, like the credit. That was kind of just lame.
Well, you know, it's 90s.
You could have done something. You know, when we do more 90s movies, I'll be able to say, oh, that's 90s. But This is the first one we've done, so I can't really say that yet.
Gotcha. So, a caveman brings back a gift to his cave woman and starts to make a fire. An earthquake starts and they reach for each other, but a snow cave-in happens. And we then open to present day, where a young boy is awoken by another earthquake. Like, he sits up, he's like screaming and freaking out, which there's a lot of earthquakes in this movie.
I believe there are a lot of earthquakes in California, though.
There are, but I don't know if it's like consistently like this.
Yeah,
maybe.
But I think that's cool, though. I mean, if we were going to do it in a place where there's a lot of earthquakes, California would be
I don't know. We had one before we moved to Roanoke when we lived in Virginia Beach.
Oh, I remember.
That one that happened, and I was sitting in my chair and it went, and like I felt like seasick, and I was like, oh my gosh, and then, it was horrible.
It had happened, and I hadn't really noticed.
Yeah, well, I did.
But I came downstairs and Tabby was freaking out.
Yeah, nice. So we see that this is a relatively nice suburban neighborhood. I mean, they're not hurting.
No.
The boy is attempting to dig a pool and throws dirt all over his buddy that shows up. The guy's name is Dave. His younger sister shows up and gives him guff about being a geek and that no one's going to swim in his pool.
Yeah, so basically Dave wants to be popular and he's hoping that the pool is going to do that for him.
Absolutely. He's got a whole plan. So Stoney, his buddy, says, stop stressing about being popular and be happy that school's almost over. Like, they're pretty much almost done with it. God bless you.
Bad. Sorry.
It's all good. It's nature, man. Dave said that he wants to finish up his high school career as a legend. He also says he wants a girl named Robin to be his girlfriend and take her to prom. So kind of just set what the whole premise for the movie is, like right off the jump. Like, I want to be popular, I want to finish a legend, and I want to take this girl to prom.
I'd also like to note that this is exactly the same kind of cliche duo that I've been talking about lately, where you have the pretty much straightforward main character to a degree, who's, you know, that kind of like, he's either geeky or like a football player, you know, he's just kind of there, and then his weird best friend. Gotcha. Stoney. Which name fits him? His name definitely does fit him.
Right.
So.
Right, and to Fright Night.
Yeah.
Just like you said with those two. You, Ed and Charlie, and you know, they're... You
and then you have the girl main love interest.
And you have you're right. So. Yeah. It works, though. Obviously, movies keep coming out like that. Yep. They're going to keep making it. People keep for watching sure. It. I mean, whatever. We then find that Dave rides to school on the back of Stoney's scooter.
Now, I put in a note here to ask you.
Yeah. This
scene where they're rolling up to the school, you know, there's this scene's a lot in many movies like this. I mean, New Guy, which I hope we'll do eventually. They have a scene like that as well, where, you know, you just have everybody out on the field. Yeah. And they're all going into the school, but there's a bunch of weird stuff going on.
Like people hanging out before school?
Another one. Well, no. I mean, he's rolling up to school in a motorcycle. He's like...
It's a moped.
I don't care what it is.
Okay.
No one at my high school is rolling up in anything but a car, if that. And they're not rolling into people.
Right.
They're rolling into people. And then they have people sitting on the outside in the grass, talking, and then on the pillars and stuff. Is that how it was for you?
You know what?
Because as a kid growing up, you're like, oh, when I hit high school, it's going to be exactly like the movies.
We would get to school usually about 20, 30 minutes early. Not the bus kids. The bus kids got there as the bus kids got there.
Yeah.
But we would get there and we would hang out on the steps in front of the auditorium. We would sit there and talk and just BS and hang out until the warning bell sounded. And then you'd start going doing your own thing. We had like 4 bills. Then people rode scooters to school. Sure. Now did they ride through the crowd and almost run people over? No.
I guess what I mean, yeah.
Even
you have different groups. So the main characters roll in always together. They're there, and then they're at the high school, and then it's the high school cliche. You have the different groups of people. You have the jocks, the cheerleaders, the goths, and then you have the geeky kids, the computer science kids. And that's always how they show them in movies.
You don't have that in your school?
Not to a degree.
See, when I was in high school, we could hang out in the quad. Like, you did not have to sit in the cafeteria and eat. You could go into the quad. You couldn't go into the halls. You couldn't go past certain barriers, but you could go out. And people hung in certain groups. And I had my group of friends that we hung out in a certain spot. And then there were the cheerleader kids. There were these kids. There were that kids. Yeah, there were facts, not FACTS, but sex. CSECTS, sex of kids that hung out like that. Now, did we have Better Off Dead nerds, where they have the pocket protectors and all that kind of stuff? No, we didn't have that. We didn't have anything that extreme. But
I'm a social floater. I pretty much fit in every situation. I have a lot of friends.
You take out, yes.
I have a ton of friends. I get that a lot. Where people come up to me like, "Oh, I didn't realize you had so many friends," because I'm forced to with some situations. I take classes that force me to make friends with certain people.
Hold on, can I scoot over because I can't fit here next to your giant head?
Well, I didn't mean it like that.
I know, I'm joking with you.
But I was gonna say in middle school it was like that for me, where it was kind of more this cliche where they had the different tables and it was words like friendship and trustworthiness and entrepreneur. I don't know, but they had these rows of tables, and then you had up front and in the back, and all the up front ones were popular girls, the sporty kids, and just jerks. I hated all of them.
Gotcha.
And then in the back was you had the freaks.
Yeah.
You had the freaks that were acceptable to everybody. That's where I sat.
Yeah.
Because we were friends with everyone. You had the Rubik's Cube nerds, who also were in a keyboarding club, losers. And then you had Outcast. We didn't even talk about them.
Oh.
I was in a group of people that were just allowed everywhere because we were funny.
Right.
So we were the funny kids. And so everyone was like, okay, I guess you can come hang out with us. So I was always set. Then we hit high school. And we didn't have where by grades it's lunch.
Yeah.
It's everybody's there. So we were forced to make friends with people who were older than us.
Yeah.
People who are younger than us.
Yes.
Or were alone. And it was, I was pretty okay because I could just go sit down with somebody and be like, whatever. That's what I did last year, where I didn't have any of my friends on B-days, and I just sat down with a bunch of boys and became friends with the boys.
Gotcha.
And then it was great. But, when high school hit, it was pretty much everybody's friends. You have to be, because you take certain classes with certain people. Not to go off like this for so long.
No, you're good.
But I take AP classes. So all my friends are usually the smarter kids and the jocks who are weirdly smart. And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So I'm friends with a bunch of these people, and unless those people drop those classes, we are together throughout all of high school.
Right.
Because we're all taking the same AP classes.
So by class, it's basically forced.
Right. So, in those classes, you can still have where you're friends with your jock friend or whatever, but we're all still together. We're all doing partnership together. So it's very over the board. But in middle school, it was like this for me.
No, man, that's how it was in high school. We definitely migrated around. I because I was in so many clubs, and I did drama, I played football, I wrestled, I did speech and debate. I had my regular friends, I had my friends that had come because I had gone to 2 different elementary schools. So I had friends from my old school, I had friends from my new school. I would, like you, I would float around and everything like that. But there were definitely groups that I did not associate with because I was like, no dice.
Those are usually girls for me.
Nice.
Those are usually to a degree, it's the girls.
It's changed since you've gotten older now.
Yeah, I have a couple cheerleader friends, a couple airhead friends that I love, absolutely. But I am more introverted than anything, which is funny because, if I'm around you enough and we're friends to a degree, I'll become more extroverted. I think it's ambivert, whatever, the one where you're kind of a little bit of both.
I thought that was a pill you took to sleep.
That's melatonin.
Oh.
But I don't like meeting new people. I don't like phone calls. I just don't like talking to people. So a lot of my friends are that type of people. Like my closer friends, they're socially awkward. So when we're putting into a classroom, like coming up, school's about to start for me, and a lot of us aren't going to be together because they split it up by last names and such.
Right.
So I'll be put in that situation where I'm forced to talk to other people that aren't usually in my friend group. And my friends who are like in those classes with me, who have no other friends but me, they always find it amazing. They're like, wow. You have so many friends, and for what? And I'm like, I don't like these people. I don't talk to them outside of school. This is just in school. We have faces here. Outside of school, don't talk to me. So that's just a little fun fact about. I just put myself out there, but
you did.
Yeah,
that was really an open up. I congratulate you on giving that.
I just wanted to put that, because I know we mostly have adults that listen to us, so a lot of you have the same high school experience where it's this, and this. And so to me, that's kind of what I was expecting going into high school. These kind of movies where it's all crazy and weird words and, just jacking around to a degree. So I thought it would be like that. So I don't know, just fun fact, younger generation me, that's how I live day to day in my school. So
Beth, the movie.
It's got to be a really short movie. Not very, a lot of cutscenes here. A lot of crying.
A lot of sleeping.
A lot of Burger King.
Centauri shows up.
The horse? No. Sorry.
That's Artex.
Yeah, sorry, Artex. I've been thinking about him a lot lately.
Artex?
Yeah, when we were in the tattoo parlor place?
Yeah.
They had like a horse's head on the wall.
Oh no.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about Artex.
Well, that's good. Kinda. So.
I digress.
So, as we know, Dave has a thing for Robin. And once they get to school, Dave pines over Robin. But she's with a guy named Matt that is basically the perfect high school guy. I mean, he is. He's a jerk. He's obviously built. He looks like he's about 25.
Blonde football player.
Typical. The guy that every girl wants to go with, obviously. Or not every, you know what I'm saying. That guy. So poor Dave feels deflated over the whole thing. We joined the guys in class, and the guy's Rick Dukeman, by the way, is the teacher. He's teaching about the Ice Age and Cro-Magnon Man. Dave continues to dig his pool while Stoney dances weird.
Hold on, give me a second, okay? Because we're at school for like 5 minutes.
Not even.
Yeah. And suddenly, we're back at the pool.
Yeah.
If I was going to, like I said with Better Off Dead, if I was going to pull something out of this movie, it's going to be the choppy scene here. Because the way we go from different scenes is really not great.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at school, they're in class, he introduces what cavemen is, what we're talking about. Yeah. So it's kind of a good setup. And then not even a bell. We're just back at home, back at the pool. I mean,
they're trying to get a lot of information and make it fast, keep it snappy.
Which is okay. And, I appreciate.
Yeah.
But if there was a lead, like, class dismiss, bell, anything.
Hold up, you thought Better Off Dead was like that?
No.
Okay, I got you. Because I was gonna say
no. Last episode, I can't remember what I pulled out of that. But I just said,
baby.
Baby.
Yeah, the pig in the jar and the baby.
I didn't complain about that, though.
No, it's awesome. You didn't complain about it. I'm saying.
But I pulled something out of it. I don't remember what I said.
Oh, I got you.
But I mean, there was you know me, I have to criticize.
Sure.
You know.
Right.
So with me, if there was going to be one thing that I pulled out of this, it would be the fact that, you know, it's not
edited.
It's not edited
weird.
well.
Oh, gotcha.
It doesn't flow. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. So while Dave is digging, he finds a Mousterian bowl, as per Stoney, is what he calls it, and states that it was used during the Ice Age. Another earthquake happens, and Stoney chucks the bowl by accident, causing Dave to have to jump for it. He does catch it and lands on something else frozen in the ground.
Yeah.
It's a guy.
Actually, we haven't done this in a while, but my favorite quote comes from the scene.
Oh, we have done
where when he's going to go show him the bowl, because he found the bowl, which, first of all, I don't think that bowl would have been intact like it was. It's
pretty good.
It was not even that deep into the ground.
Did you notice on the walls of the pool, there's caveman drawings?
Are there?
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed.
I
noticed a little later on that there were.
You wouldn't have noticed? Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, but my favorite quote is because Dave goes up to show Stoney and he's listening to stuff and he like pulls it down and Stoney goes, hey, my lobes.
My lobes.
He's so sad about it. And I love that. That was my favorite quote.
Yes.
But then yes, the earthquake happens and then they find
the frozen guy.
Yeah.
So the guys freak out and go to tell Dave's mom, but she's like, I'm working.
Yeah. The tell a parent cliche I'd like to mention as well. The try to tell a parent cliche. So
absolutely. Basically just ignores them.
But yeah, they are screaming.
Yep.
It's so funny.
So they go back thinking it's something like Jimmy Hoffa, maybe. Or some guy that was in a class that disappeared with Stoney.
That was really weird. He had a lot of weird stories.
Yeah. So they get closer and Stoney says he thinks it's a caveman. So Dave sees opportunity as getting fame and popularity off finding him. Which, yes, but you could have done so by immediately calling the news and alerting them and everything like that. Like
Can
you've
you
got a
Can
whole
you call the
thing.
news?
Yeah, man, you can call the news.
Really?
Yeah, you can email them, message them. I've messaged the news. I messaged them because I didn't like something that they put, and they messaged me back and said, well, tough. So Stoney has no interest in being a part of it until Dave tempts him with money.
Get the news over here. My daughter turns into a beaver. See, that's a good way to
show that's a
good...
yeah. Stupid.
Sorry.
So they pull the ice block out of the pool and lock it in the shed.
Yeah, where did they get that? Suddenly, the machine's just in the garage.
I think it was their lawnmower, and they set up a pool. Yeah, I think they tied it to the lawnmower, and then they had a pulley. Not that they would need a lawnmower with that sad little, basically all pool backyard that he has now, but yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. They also take some pictures of the process and everything like that. They leave him thawing with heaters and go to school. So now we're at school again.
Yeah. Well, this seems to happen all in the same day.
So I like this. I like that Dave is like, you can't tell nobody. You can't do this. Promise you're going to keep it silent, blah, blah, blah. Dave instantly goes to school and tells Robin that he found the caveman, hoping that it's cool. That's when she's, oh, you're drowning. That's because he's coming at her with this ridiculous story, and she's just like, dude.
They had a really weird relationship.
Stop.
I mean, honestly, the romance part of this as well, I would pick at, because the whole time he's kind of like coming at her like a lifelong friend. Yeah, and a stalker. Yeah. Obsessed. Yeah, is another word I would put towards it. I felt more romance between Betty and Malink. You know,
Betty.
Is it not Betty?
Betty Nugs.
Yeah, Betty Nugs. She said her name was Betty. No, are you serious? Oh, is it Ella?
Oh my God! It's no Betty.
She said her name was Betty.
No, that's a girl. A hot girl is a Betty.
Oh, that's rude.
And Nugs are chest.
What's her name?
Betty then? Nugs.
Is it Ella?
Because remember when he's drawing these, she's all Betty Nugs. That's your girlfriend, you know.
Oh, I thought she was saying my name's Betty.
Oh wow!
I hate this.
This will probably be what I pull out and put on.
Don't use this as a soundbite. Don't use that. That's horrible. That doesn't make me sound good at all.
No, I thought it was Betty.
See, this goes into my thing
Betty
with the
Nugs.
90s terms, your weird
Exactly.
language, okay?
Oh, man, that's fun.
That's not fun for me.
Oh, I love that. So he asks her to come and see his caveman, but she rejects him. He then gets bullied by her boyfriend, Matt, for talking to her. So Matt staples him to the school bulletin board and pulls the fire alarm for everyone to come and see him. So once again, a little bit of assault and battery. I don't care how popular you are. You're not allowed to staple people to a board. But it was the 90s. So what are you going to do? What are you looking at me like that for?
I'm just sad still.
Oh. So meanwhile, the caveman is completely thawed up.
How do you think they filmed that? The ice pit where it's like thawing out and cracking and melting? How do you think they filmed that?
I think they probably got a huge giant block of ice and melted it with a dummy inside. Probably. Yeah.
And you got a home. Okay, fine.
Well, I mean,
I guess it makes sense.
You asked me. So he wakes freaked out and is
I wanted
still,
movie magic.
I don't know, man. Remember, I said this is basic. They're not doing high tech here. This is low tech. They put a dummy in some ice, froze it, and then they thawed it. Done. So yeah, he wakes up freaked as if he's still in the moment that when the snow caved in, because he's all freaks about his head, which I thought was pretty cool. Like as far as he's concerned, he's still right there. He begins to explore his surroundings and walks right into a rake, knocking him down. So the dog greets him, but he mushes it away.
Yeah,
the dog's all mush. He just mushes him away.
And then he climbs up that the hill almost, looks over.
Yep, stands and stretches,
Very
looking at
thick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I got a what's his name vibes from Legend.
Oh gosh, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise vibes. Because they're almost showing everything.
Nice. Well, he was a caveman. He's not really
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
I'll give you.
I did like that. I don't think I would have reacted nearly as well as he was though, because he gets out and he's just like trusting everything. Stepping around in the grass. I would be freaked out.
Yeah.
You take me from my situation, you throw me thousands of years into the future.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be well. I'm gonna wake up and be like,
Yeah.
"Whoa."
Well, the helicopter comes and flies over him, and he's all
He starts, yeah.
runs off. He freaks out at the mailman delivering a package. He's like, oh, and he just sets it on the shovel.
On the shovel, yeah.
He trashes the gift, but takes the string. He then drinks from the drain water, which is disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting.
And he gets into a fight with a trash truck.
Reminded him of an elephant.
Yeah.
Or the
Go ahead.
yeah, I don't know what they're called. Woolly. I almost said walrus.
A walrus. Well, I mean, they could have been there too.
No.
But woolly mammoth is what you're thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. He walked into the room, back into the house, and he sees the "I'll be back" scene from the Terminator on TV. And then a video of some Aborigine music dancing comes on.
Which
so
he starts to dance to, too, yeah.
I thought that was great.
Which, again, if I was a caveman seeing a magical TV box for the first time, I'm going to be... I think I would have melted out of the ice cube and then seen my surroundings and reverted back into fetus form.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Dave and Stoney return to the shed and think that the caveman melted, which I thought was hilarious.
I would, I'd roll up into a ball as well.
A Dondi style?
Yeah, Dondi style from our Patreon.
Yeah. And just fetal position. I don't know what to do.
No.
But then they return to the house as well and find that he has been in there by the art that's on the glass. Like they're seeing all the little drawings in mud.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh no, this dude's here. They hear the fire alarm and find that he's trying to start a fire in Dave's bedroom. So Stoney wants to leave. He's like, we gotta go. But Dave, I say we go. Dave says, no way, man. They found him. He's theirs. So they go in and talk to him, but he's freaked out.
Which makes sense. I would be freaked out as well.
Completely. So the phone rings and freaks him out, causing him to look as though he's going to attack. But then he starts jumping on the bed and looks calmed down. But then the busy signal starts back on the phone, and he gets freaked out again like he's going to attack. But Stoney thinks fast and grabs a lighter and distracts him with it. So because he's like, oh, fire. Ooh. They kind of make friends, and then Dave says they have to clean him up to make him normal, so that he doesn't get taken away and cut up into little pieces, which I think it's funny that that's what would happen and get cut up into little pieces.
Yeah. Well, scientists, they're weird.
That's absolutely the first thing that they do is cut things into little pieces. So then we get one of my favorite things, which is a montage. Yes!
I do like this.
It's a great song by Right Said Fred, so I'm Too Sexy.
Yes, which I remember this song. Every time I hear that song come on, I think about this movie.
That's as you should.
Same thing with the I'll Be Back thing. I always think about this movie.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So the tub and the house are thrashed.
Absolutely.
With filth. But, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess somebody else will clean it up. They show him all cleaned up in the mirror and teach him words.
Which was weird to me. I mean, this guy is 1,000 years old again, He picks up very fast.
Well, yeah, but he's a man. So, men do that. I mean, humankind. I'm not saying men as in men versus women.
I was going to say, that's a little
No,
backwards.
I'm saying, he's our link, man. He's no.
Right, but...
No. Whatever. He doesn't speak in, sentences.
I was kind of
just speaks...
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I was just trying to think, you took a language class.
Yeah.
I took Latin, and I recalled nothing from that class. I took it for 3 years, so it's just kind of weird to me thinking, to understand so quickly what I'm trying to. I hit you, Wallen.
Whoa.
And then I hit me, Beth.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pick that up.
It took him a minute.
I did, but exactly, just a minute.
Well, they decide to see how smart he is, and he catches on pretty fast.
He's a genius. IQ 1,000.
They teach him that his name is Link, and their name is Dave and Stoney.
His name's actually like Bob.
It does take some time, but he gets it. He gets it. Dave's parents come home, and the house is thrashed. So Dave tries to act like he's cooking dinner to cover up the mess, and he has Stoney bring Link to the back door and introduces him as Linkovich Chamovsky.
An exchange student from Stonovich.
From Estonia.
Estonia, my bad.
Yep. Stoney tells him that he's from Estonia, and they agree to having the student stay. The dad says he thinks he remembers saying it was going to be okay with them. I like it. He's like, "Where's the flower? I can't find the flower."
I do like this scene a lot.
Yeah.
But I like the parents. Because, sometimes with characters, families, they introduce them for all of, 2 scenes, and they don't really have much flavor, but his parents have a lot of character to them.
Yeah.
The dad's, the typical, nah, I don't really care what's going on, blah, blah, I'm just here. And the sister's the jerk.
Yeah.
And the mom's, strict, but to a degree. She's like, what's going on here? I'm lost. I'm trying to work type deal. So it was just nice that it had character to them.
Well, I'm guessing she's probably in real estate, and the dad does something. He's like, I come home, I'm tired, I want my dinner. And there's craziness going on. I don't need this crap.
So he just agrees with it. He's like, I do think I remember this.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And she's like, honey, how can I forget?
Yeah, this is so important. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next day, they take him to high school with them and enroll him, which, okay.
Yeah. How was that a good idea?
Dave is still worried about getting popular by using Link, but Stoney says he just wants to be his friend. And he pretty much sticks like that the whole time. They're discussing how they're going to get him to his classes when he jumps from the second floor and lands it, perfectly. He then runs up and onto this girl, sniffing her all hard and grabbing her hard as well. It's Robin's friend, which I don't know what her name is, and they have a discussion about Link being an exchange student.
Apparently it's Ella.
Ella, not Betty Nuggs.
I thought this scene was funny because at the beginning where the teacher is explaining what cavemen are, he gets really close to Ella, and is all like, "Cavemen take what they want." Yeah, it was really creepy.
And she was like,
I'd like that. Yeah, so I like that happened.
So that girl, Ella, is in a whole, she's like this 90s character. She's in this, she's in Empire Records. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No, she definitely looked familiar.
And she's in The Craft.
That's what I remember her from.
And she's just in these 90s movies that they're not they're more culty type movies than they are main movies now. So yeah, I'm trying to go through to see if I know any of these, but I could name these 3 to 4 movies.
The Craft for sure, but
Encino Man, The Craft, and Empire Records are about as far as it goes that I would know that she was in.
she's in a movie called Frogs! Exclamation point.
Oh, okay.
Wonder what that's about.
Frogs.
She's very pretty.
Okay.
I liked when she was on.
So,
It was nice.
Link is then going through the school, making friends already, and in Spanish class, Robin's friend, Ella, invites him to Blades. Stoney asks to come as well, and she tells him he smells. And the teacher yells at him and hits him, and he's like, it was them. It was not me. And it's that stuff.
I love stuff
funny.
like that. That I always did that to kids.
Yeah. Get them in trouble when it's you, sure.
Yeah, no, consistently.
So Stoney takes Link to the food mart, and Stoney is teaching Link about the food or grindage. And I put that in quotation for you. Grindage. Food.
The food, the food chain, food web?
Yep. The food groups,
Food groups, that's what it
which
is.
consist of all crap foods like candy and corn nuts.
It was all, yeah.
They also wheeze the juice by drinking ice straight from
I remember this
icy
scene,
straight
yeah.
from the machine.
This scene is what I remember when I think about this movie.
Is it?
Yeah, this squeeze the juice. Don't squeeze the juice.
Wheeze the juice.
Sorry, my bad.
Yep. No, wheezing the juice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Link gets serious brain freeze and then repeats the "I'll be back" scene from Terminator that he saw on TV.
Yeah.
And I liked it because the music got all and he comes back
Yeah.
and he's all, "I'll be back." I'm like, really? So
And then they go to a amusement park.
Yep, they go
Which
to the
again
amusement park.
goes into my thing about the weird editing here. I mean, school, 7-Eleven. Now we're at a roller coaster park thing.
Yep.
I mean, it's just
And
whack.
what do we get when they're at the amusement park?
A montage.
A montage. Yes, so sweet. 2 montages in one movie again. And
There's a lot in this movie.
Easy. I laugh. Don't take my fire. Don't take my thunder. I laugh hard at this point because they keep smacking around the guy in the panda suit. It really makes me laugh because they keep running up
Those
and like,
guys have such a hard
pop,
job.
pop, 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 pop,
Yeah.
on his head.
I'm quitting.
Dude, take the head off and be like, bro, stop smacking me around.
They're not allowed to take the head off. They have to stay
You
in
get-
character. You're fired.
Well, then I'm fired because I'm not going to sit there and have people running by and banging me in my stinking head.
Pull out a Glock.
So mess with the dog.
Panda's just chasing after you.
Who is?
The panda.
Oh, the panda. Oh, yeah.
Pop, 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 pop.
I'm Poppy Panda. Because he's popping the gun. Well, whatever.
That was not-
Oh, that's not funny. Your whole thing's not funny, but that's not. Whatever. I'm done with that talk. I'm done.
Poppy the panda because he's No.
Whatever. I think it's good. So they pull up on Dave in front of his house.
I
and
think it's good.
Dave is pissed. We find that Link is
Which
now...
makes sense. That
Yeah,
he's mad.
absolutely.
I mean, he's been sitting here waiting, expecting them to come after school, and they're gone for 4 hours
Right.
at least.
Right. We find that Link now talks like Stoney as well. This is my cat.
Which I like.
Ow, buddy.
Buddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then we join them at dinner, and Link hunts a fly and eats it.
That was disgusting.
Stoney says, "Meat group."
Meat group,
as
yeah.
he does.
And then I like that the dad was on the table, like, trying to not vomit into his
Yes.
napkin. He was like, oh.
Right, because he starts eating from the dog bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that night they go to Blades, and Dave and Stoney go in when they're not supposed to. They're just supposed to drop off Link, but they're like, yeah, we're going to go be cool kids too. Link is greeted by Robin's friend Ella immediately, and he draws in ketchup and mustard, reflecting on his cave girlfriend. He then sees Radmobile and goes to play it with Stoney. And did you see what was dangling? Like it was dangling from the rearview mirror in that? Sonic the Hedgehog?
No, I didn't see.
Yep, little Sonic the Hedgehog. Meanwhile, Dave is talking to Robin and gets dragged onto the ice by Matt, who is smacking him around. Link sees this and intervenes. Matt hits him like straight up in the face, and Link takes it like a pro.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you are that insecure where you can't let your significant other be talking to anybody
Right.
of the opposite gender for more than 2 minutes, I mean, they talk for like a minute and a half, and you're fighting that person, I'm
Right.
sorry. You are toxic.
Well, Clearly not that. Also, it's assault again.
Yeah.
You cannot just haul off and hit people. I don't care how rich and popular you are.
It just seems to happen a lot with the characters that are the girl that the other character wants to be with is always in a relationship with this dude that's not good for her.
Yeah.
Obviously. But they're always so insecure.
Yeah. But I mean, then again, she may be complaining to him about this guy who's showing up at plays and has like pictures of them as like.
Well, she didn't seem like she was
2
complaining.
years old.
Obviously, they're friends.
No, but I'm saying if some guy showed up with you and was like, "Hey, here's a picture of us when we're in the tub from 2 years old. That's your copy. I've got a copy too." I mean, maybe when you're hanging out with your boyfriend, you're like, and they're like, "Dude, what's the deal with that guy? He's always gonna be like, yeah, he's a little weird."
Well, that's how I expect you. Okay, if you come at me like that, then fine. If we're having a conversation about that, then yes. I expect you to go up to the guy and just talk to him and be like, "Hey, yo, leave her alone," stuff like that. Or I would say that she didn't, because she didn't say that to him. She didn't say, "Dave, leave me alone."
She's into it.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, that was fun," and then she was like, "Don't show this picture to anybody," you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, come up to the guy who's creeping me out. If I told you that, don't take him out onto the ice and start beating him.
Yeah,
that's not cool.
Yeah,
I don't like that because it makes me feel like you're gonna start hitting me.
True. So Link does take the hit like a champ, and everybody sees it.
Link very impressed.
Yeah, well. Link does not have it in him to fight for pride, as he used to fighting for survival, not popularity. And people
I thought that was weird because cavemen, they with danger, and I'll talk about Primal, the Far Cry Primal.
Yeah,
in that you're a caveman to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you have things attacking you. I mean, he should have gotten it in his head at somehow. I mean, he would have faced other cavemen that battling and such. So that didn't make sense to me to a degree. The fighting for survival.
Well, he's just not looking for popularity. I think it was what they were trying to say is that he's not into it for popularity. He's not into it at that point.
Oh, well, they made it sound like he didn't know what to do. Someone coming at him.
It's just not in his genes at that point, maybe. I don't know, man. I'm not really.
It would have made, that makes. Sorry, you know how I am with it. Yeah, it would have been more sense to me had he
hauled
fought
off
at
and
all.
punched him right back.
Yeah, had he done anything, yelled or something.
No, he
that
just
was
took it and was just like, "What the heck?"
He got sad and walked off.
Yeah. So Dave is still worried about being popular as he decides that they have to teach him how to fight. And what's this? Can it be?
Another
third montage? Yes, it is. Woo! I love montages, man. I'm into them.
I like montages when they're like, have you ever seen Sailor Moon? I haven't watched it all the way, but the magical girl transformation? I'll just use that as a sense. Where you go from being one way and then transfer coolly into another way. I like montages like that.
But wait. There's more. Link is adjusting to school. And people are digging him. So wait. Can it be a fourth montage? Yes. This movie's killing it, man. 4 montages in this movie. I think that's fantastic. That's probably why I got a low rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I was going to say, the more... Now it kind of sounds like now after that, because at first, it's kind of like, okay, cool, fun little montages. But now that you're saying that it's so many, it just seems like the movie's trying to get it along.
Well, we get a time montage of Link basically becoming popular across the different groups of the school.
Yeah.
But it's not having any effect on Dave and Stoney's popularity. Like, they're being seen now, but they're not necessarily becoming popular. Does that make sense?
Everyone knows who they are.
Yeah, they're the guys who run with Link. They're not, oh, Dave is cool, I want to invite him to my party.
Unrelated note, I guess. Yeah. I was always scared of being that kid. The one who ran with other people instead of being the one people ran with.
Oh, I gotcha.
Because, my middle school was like my high school experience. Like, for me, that was what that was.
That's weird.
It's backwards for me is how it feels. Huh. Middle school was so intense. Because you were with your own grade and that's just how it was. But, to me, I had 3 main friends, and to me, we were the coolest people ever. We were like, whatever. And I knew so many people, so everybody knew who I was, and I was friends with, like, almost everybody.
Yeah.
And people would be talking about me. I'd get people coming up to me and be like, we've never met, but I heard from so-and-so that you did this. Is that true? Yes. Don't tell nobody. What the heck? But I was always afraid that I would be, I guess you could say, the side character to somebody else's main character life.
You'd be Evil Ed.
Yeah.
I got you.
But, I mean, when you're in a group of four friends, it's like, I don't want to be the fourth person out. When you have the main three, am I the tag along?
Right. Who am I in the mix?
Right.
I got you.
That was always a little fear of mine. And then when high school hit and we all got separated again, it was definitely bigger because I had no real, like, I had my main 4 friends, and then high school hit, and I was forced to be more friends with all my side friends. That makes sense.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So all my side chicks had to become my main chicks. And I started to think, I was like, oh gosh, am I the side chick?
Oh, no.
So.
Nobody wants to be that.
No.
So, unfortunately, the class takes a field trip to the museum, and Link has a bit of a meltdown when he realizes that what he sees as Cro-Magnon Man is him, and that his world is completely gone as he knew it.
He got PTSD.
Yeah, for real.
It was really sad, actually.
Dave and Stoney find Link trying to make a fire in one of the caveman exhibits as he cries. I mean, he's breaking down. Stoney goes to console him, and Link gets like pissy, but Stoney and Dave tell him that they are his family now. They're his new family, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it's more Stoney saying it and Dave kind of, mooching up on it. Matt happens to oversee this and gets suspicious, which is weird to me. I don't understand. I mean, I guess they had to have some kind of culminating plot with it.
Right.
But for him to just be like, man, I've got to figure out what's going on with this.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if I was looking upon this, if I was Matt, I'm going to see these guys in this exhibit and be like, yo, what the heck y'all doing? I'm going to go get a teacher and tattle.
Right. I want to get you in trouble.
I want to get you in trouble. And I'm not going to look at this and be like,
right.
These boys are in the caveman exhibit.
What's going on? Exhibit.
I can't speak.
Good gravy.
Sorry. Fun fact, everyone. I have problems.
And that was it? Just, okay. So, Dave still thinks that they have gained some popularity as people at least know who they are. So now Link is in driver's ed class and is told to drive. He is doing it like Radmobile and drives all over the school like crazy. He even pops it up on 2 wheels and drives through town on 2 wheels. So Stoney and, at that point, Dave also run out and jump in the car, and Robin's in there too, luckily.
Yeah.
So they drive and park in front of a bar called El Crib.
Parallel park.
Yeah, he
Very
slings
well.
it in there.
Yeah.
That's how you got to do it. So when you practice and you do it for your test, you just sling the car in there. Tokyo
Let's
Drift.
take your car.
Tokyo Drift style.
Take your car and I'll go do it.
Okay. We'll do it tomorrow. Link hears the music.
Tomorrow.
Oh. Link hears the music and runs in. There's a couple bar goers sit and drink tequila with Stoney. Because apparently Stoney and Link get in there quicker. Because Dave and Robin come in later looking for Stoney and Link. And Robin goes to dance with Link. And trying to get Dave to do it. But Dave's like, no. I'm like, that dude, this is your chance. This is your opportunity. Right. And you're going to be all sheepish. I don't care if you like to dance or not. You get out there and you dance.
Yeah, I'm going with Stoney and drinking.
Or there's that.
I mean, tequila for free. I like that he was like, do I have to pay for this?
Right, he did ask that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, wait. Do I have to pay for this?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Matt and crew are going through Link's record to see what's up with Link. And they find that his info is actually for a dog.
So I want to point out again, because I like to be, if you like, I don't want to have people argument with me. So here's my defense here as part of it. With my choppy scene thing,
yeah,
you have it where it's daytime.
Yes.
Where they just got out of the school. I guess you can say it was last block of the day, but either way, it's still like, what, like 4 o'clock? Not even?
Yeah.
And then they're at the club for all of like 5-6 minutes, and then we're shown Matt, and it's nighttime.
See, I didn't know if it was nighttime, but it's definitely closed. All those lights are definitely out and everything like that.
But it was so dark that they had a flashlight on.
Yeah.
I don't even care. And teachers stay at the school a really long time.
I give you that.
The fact that nobody was there, they had to have the flashlights on and everything.
Yeah.
It's dark. And then even when the cops show up and they're driving out, it's dark outside. She's rolling up at her house and it's black.
Yeah.
It's just choppy.
Yeah, I give you that.
There was just another point of mine.
I do like the part because Link, he downs that bowl of salsa. It's clearly hot. It makes him go crazy. So he goes back out on the dance floor. Robin grabs him, and they start a conga line, which I thought was fun.
That was nice, too.
The cops show up, and Dave gets Stoney and Robin out of there. But he and Link gets busted. And I like that he was like, Stoney, get Robin out of here. And Stoney's all drunk. So
and he's like,
Robin's
Robin, get Stoney out of here.
Stoney out of here.
Yeah, I did like that.
Robin arrives home and runs into Matt, who is waiting for her. He is asking about prom and what time he should pick her up. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to prom with you, bro. I want to go with someone who's not afraid to be themselves and is truly cool.
Gave him back his promise ring.
Yeah,
the skates.
Yeah, he had done. She said, "Oh," because she just chucks it out on the ice. He's like, "Yo,"
which makes me wonder. Like, if you're gonna get a girl a promise ring, you got to be very serious about her. And I know that was a thing that was more popular back in the '90s and such, giving people promise rings. I mean, that's not really a thing we have now at school, but so they had to have been in a serious relation to at least some degree for him to get her one of those.
See, again, it all comes back. The whole story centers around popularity. It's all a popularity thing. And I think that she even realized that she was being kind of a butt about how she was doing with her popularity because being with Matt. Mm-hmm. Like how she was dogging out Dave and everything like that because of popularity.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that Link kind of brought that out to her as well, to be like, look, here's this dude that's carefree, whatever, and people all like him, and he's being himself. And so maybe I'm also a jerk, as much as Matt is. So I think that she was finally like, eh.
Yeah, I am just to a degree. I mean, to be in a relationship and then have someone give you a promise ring, that promise ring, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I've talked a lot this episode, so it's all coming out.
I got you. You're good.
A promise ring represents that, we're going to get married at some point.
See, did you take that as a promise ring, or did you take that as that's his class ring? Because I took it that it was just a class ring.
Take your promise ring back.
Oh, wow. Then they were in a pretty serious
That's
thing.
what I'm saying. She's like, I don't need this anymore. Take this back.
Womp.
And, I mean, I've never even had friends that were like, oh, I got a friend. I mean, that's not something that you see a lot of the time now because those are serious things. So the fact that she was just willing, she was like, oh, here's this. We're done. I'm in my room crying for a couple of days.
You would think so.
Yeah.
She was, no.
Oh, I mean, as Matt. If I'm Matt, I'm crying in my room for a couple of days.
I think he's so out of it that he doesn't even know. So Dave calls her from jail, his one phone call, and asks her to prom, but she says she wants to go with Link. And it's great because in the background, while he's on the phone with, you can see Link like getting pulled back in the window because he's like hanging out of it and everything like that. I don't know if you saw that, but I love that.
Yeah. I liked a lot of the background stuff in this movie. There was a lot of really good stuff going on.
Yeah. So that night it rains and the pool starts to fill with water. Whatever. Dave is feeling pissy because Robin wants Link.
Reasonably so. I mean, he's obviously this entire time he's been obsessed with this girl.
Yeah.
If suddenly I found a caveman, wanted to show it to her, and now she's in love with it, or in love to a degree, I would be mad. I'd be like, my whole plan just backfired on my face.
I guess, but I don't think that she's in love with. She just wants to.
I didn't mean to say love. I meant to say, she likes this guy.
She likes him. I guess if I was wanting him to end, that's so.
She said that she was interested in the guy because he was carefree. She was like, I like Link.
She wants a guy like that. Yeah.
So, which I can understand.
Yep. So he decides to take Link down the highway and send him on his way.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Luckily, Stoney catches up to them on his scooter and stops him from being a huge jerk.
Yeah.
He completely calls Dave out on his BS. So Dave ends up getting into a fight with Stoney and punches him, causing him to bleed, which I thought was pretty harsh.
I thought it was too. They seem to, best friend. Dave's been a real number this entire time. He's been obsessed with this whole popularity thing. Stoney's just here being like, let's should be friends with him. He's really cool. I don't really care about all this. And Dave's just been this uptight jerk this whole time. I've been like Matt had more to a degree of leniency. I mean,
yeah,
Matt was just aggressive, but I mean, at least he wasn't obsessive. Dave was just not.
Yeah,
I didn't really like Dave.
Well, Link intervenes and they hug it out, which I thought was good.
They're like family.
Yeah, Dave gets Link ready for his prom date with Robin because Dave finally comes to grips with
how I guess you could be like, oh, character growth.
Yeah.
Whatever,
But he explains to Robin and explains he cannot go due to being grounded. Not that he doesn't want to go, but that he's grounded, which is probably somewhat true since he got arrested.
Yeah.
Dave and Stoney are chilling by the pool together in the backyard when Matt shows up to fight Link. He breaks into Dave's room and finds the Polaroids of them thawing out, Link and everything like that, all the whole process that they did hidden behind the picture of Robin.
Which is mighty convenient.
Yeah. But I like how when he went to stand there, like he got all caught up in the hammock. He goes up, his neck's all in, and he's all flings back down again.
That's why I don't get on hammocks.
Yeah, right.
I have never had a good experience with them. Yeah.
Dave then hears the disturbance in the house and his mom yelling for him. So he runs out and he finds that Matt has taken the pictures.
Yeah.
And then there's also another little earthquake that happens there, and that's kind of important. Once again, there's a little earthquake. We then find that Link is about to be crowned prom king when Matt shows up telling everyone that Link is a caveman. And everyone just cheers and doesn't care.
Yeah.
They give no hex.
No.
They're just like, whatever.
Because, I mean, at that point, you're like, oh, yeah, caveman. Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
So then he's like, oh, we got pictures. I have pictures I can show you.
Yeah, and Robin actually sees it. And she's kind of like, oh, well, I guess, Dave wasn't lying to me.
But also, where are the teachers at this thing? This whole thing's going down. There's no teachers. I mean, you got a kid presenting the thing. I didn't see any chauffeur.
Not really any staff.
Nothing. No.
So, Link starts to do a dance, and then Stoney kind of joins in, and then Dave starts to join in. And they're kind of like doing this whole dance. And then everybody jumps in and starts doing the same dance, which I thought was pretty interesting that they did it.
Was this before or after that Matt gets hit?
Oh, right. Oh, I blanked over a spot. My bad.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah,
because
so
Dave shows up, interrupts Matt's speech about the photos. He's like, give me those photos. And that's when Robin sees the pictures.
Right, and then Matt once again hits Dave, and flinging Dave into the crowd, and Link uses his newly found fighting skills, and he's like, just like headbutts the heck out of him,
like,
and then chucks him into the cave, which Stoney comes over and pours the punch all over his head.
And then they start dancing.
Then they start dancing. Sorry, my notes went funky there for a second. So they do their dance, everybody jumps into it, and then everybody returns to Dave's house to swim in his pool.
Which was with his plan, so that's cool.
So literally his plans, right, when he stopped being the jerk that was trying to just be popular, he gets popular.
Yep.
Dave and Robin are sitting next to the pool, and talking about what Dave did, and then Dave actually gets a kiss from Robin. So maybe she stopped caring about all the crap and actually
she realized that he was like, oh, I don't really care about this anymore. So she was like, okay.
Right. When you stop trying to be right.
So she was like, okay, well, I guess I'll give him a try.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Stoney and Link hear the fire alarm and see the body imprints of what looked to be a cave girl. They run upstairs and find the cave girl from the beginning of the movie in the tub.
I like that it paralleled how Dave and
the exact
Stoney,
same way.
Yeah,
the
like
fire
that.
alarm's going off.
Like,
there's the dread. Everything like that.
They're yelling at the same time. They're like,
Yep. Link is ecstatic because it is his girl, and he jumps in the tub with her. They then clean her up, get her all dressed up and fancy as well, and it ends with them kissing, which was nice. I thought it was nice that his girl came back because he was clearly missing her, and at least that she's with him now. And then Pauly Shore comes back and says, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends.
Yeah.
So, your overall thoughts on the film and the movie experience?
Fantastic movie. I mean, it's got the good classic 90s vibe. I like to think that I watched a lot of 90s movies growing up. Sorry. Yeah. Because, I mean, that's what was on, 2008. I mean, they were showing movies like this.
Sure.
So, this I've seen before, obviously, and there's a couple others, but it just gave me that nostalgic vibe of, sitting in front of this TV as a 7-8-year-old, watching this for the first time, remembering how it went. It was just, it was a good movie. Again, the only thing I would change would be how things transitioned. But
just the transitioning from scene to scene. Sure, the cutting. And that has to do with editing more than the movie.
Right. I mean, it was a budget of $7 million. I mean, that's not even...
It's nothing.
That's nothing.
When we've seen some of the movies that have been put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
would you recommend it to a friend?
I would recommend it to a friend. Cool. I would watch this with a friend over. I mean, this is it's a good movie. It's funny, it's interesting, and it keeps you entertained.
How many moves do you give it out of the 5? 0 to 5?
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I would do the same. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 moves. I think it's a good, solid movie. I like it because, like you said, I can watch it with kids on.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about anything. Obviously, there's some stuff that happened that you didn't even get and you still didn't get.
Yeah, no.
But it's nothing. There's no foul humor. It's just a very clean, go-through type movie. It's kind of like, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Which, yeah, exactly. Look at me, blink, blink.
Yeah.
Which we will review, but that was just on the other day and we watched it, and it's not, there's nothing in it that's ridiculous. It's just a good, clean, fun, wholesome movie. I mean, it's just fun. And, you don't, if you go, time travel, I'm like, oh, shut up, just watch the movie and enjoy it for what
magic.
it is.
I mean, yes.
So, this is the same thing. Would a frozen man from that long ago be able to wake up and live and everything like that? No, probably not. He's probably really, really dead. But,
decayed.
This
bones.
is a fun movie.
Yeah.
And so.
Yes. And I would have given it a 5 had it been more consistent,
Yeah,
they go to school, they come home, and then they go back to school.
It is choppy.
There's no nighttime. It is what it is. But it was a good movie overall. I have no complaints with this movie other than that.
All right.
So, favorite character.
My favorite character is going to be Stoney.
So is mine. It's going to be Stoney. I remember this actor in a lot of different movies.
Yeah.
Even when I was watching this, I almost thought that movie that I talked about before we started watching was a sequel to this. Or something like that. So I had to look up see if there was an Encino 2, but there's not. Because I remember him being in that movie in the college thing, and I was wondering if that was what it was.
No.
But it's not.
No. But what's funny about these movies, those two, that was so we had a giveaway, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. I'll talk about it a bit later. One of the clues that I gave was that one of the characters from this movie showed up twice, cameoing in 2 of the movies, and the movies that he shows up in are Son-in-Law and In the Army Now. Link shows up as looking like him, like Link.
Yeah. See, I remember that in the Son-in-Law movie.
And Pauly Shore's character, of course, is not the same. He's not Stoney, but he's all, nah. It's just funny, and that's fun.
I love cameos.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
I had to look that up because, like I said, it was just, my 7-year-old brain watching these for the first time, I don't remember things. I remember as I go along. The only thing Better Off Dead, I remembered instantly.
Yeah.
Because that's just a movie that's like that. But this one, I didn't remember a lot of the scenes. I remembered the I'll Be Back, the one where they're cleaning them up and he's in the tub, and I remembered the wheezing the juice.
Yeah.
And that was it. Everything else for this movie, I didn't really remember.
I got you.
So, least favorite character.
So your least favorite character is supposed to be Matt, but my least favorite character, really, after watching it again and really seeing it, is Dave.
It's Dave. It's Dave for me.
And that's really weird. But yeah, he's just, I get him. I get where he's trying to be, and I get that he's built up in his mind. He wants this girl, and if he can get this girl, then he can be what he considers to be popular, and popular means this, that, and the other. But, dude, like Stoney says at the beginning, you've gone through your entire high school career. It's done.
Yep.
Let it go. There's always college. Go to college and reinvent yourself.
Where nobody knows you.
Yeah, and be
like
something.
Yeah. I almost wanted to say that it's because I don't really like main characters, but that's not the case here. I have friends that where we like Robin 1 did. We didn't care what anybody thought about us in middle school. We were just our own breed of kids that, pretty much everybody liked anyways.
Yeah.
But to a degree, we were annoying. You know, so we were those kids, but I've had friends that I don't even like much anymore because we hit high school and they were suddenly like, oh, I have to be friends with everybody, but all the popular kids.
Right.
I don't want to talk to you lower chain kids anymore.
Yep.
And I mean, I would come home middle school. I mean, I would come home and I would talk to you about it, and I'd be like, secretly, it feels like I run the school. And that's not me boasting. I mean, I really do have a lot of friends, and I would come home from school and I would tell you that I had people legitimately would come up to me and tell me things, or they'd be like, oh, I heard you got called to the office because of some stupid stuff my friends have done, and I got pulled into it. But they'd be like, oh, how would that go? You know, I was one of the main popular people,
right,
without having to be a sport kid, without having to be one of the jocks and the cheerleaders. But that's what it was like to me. And to have friends turn out to be like Dave, it was annoying. It was like, why do you suddenly care so much?
Right.
Why have you turned to this other person? That didn't make... It was annoying.
Right.
And so I guess to a degree that kind of showed here for me with Dave. That's why I didn't really like him.
It's funny because your not opinion, but your definition of popular is one thing, whereas his is another. Him running with Link and knowing everybody like that to me, that's popular enough.
Yeah, no,
everybody knows you and everything like that. Yeah. Versus, what are you thinking that popular is you're not?
You have your cliches here. Your cliche popular, which is in books, movies. I mean, what the different, like we were talking about at the beginning, you have, like, you know, the goth, the geeks, and everything to that. The popular kids were the football players, the basketball players, and the cheerleaders. And those were, like, you know, you had your skinny blonde chicks, their sidekick brunette friend that was also skinny, and they were all cheerleaders or some kind of something. And those were those kids. And they weren't interesting.
Right.
I mean, at least in middle school they weren't. I have a couple of those friends now that are pretty good. But we just didn't talk to them. Same as, you know, a lot of them didn't talk to us. So
they're vanilla. They're bland.
They are.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that is a form of popular because everybody knows them. Because they're the football players and everything. So teachers love them. So they get picked on and everything with the teachers. Right. So they're popular in that sense. But then you had people like me who would do certain things that made us stand out, i.e. being, like, funny, or, in my case, bullying other kids, and it was funny to certain people.
Shoot.
But, I mean, I hung out with boys in middle school.
Yeah.
I mean, I just got to that point where that's where I was at. And so I was popular in that sense because you didn't really have the girls who hung out with those boys who were not really whatever. So I was known among a lot of guys. And because I was known among a lot of the guys, a lot of the girls knew me. I had girls who would pay me money to talk to the guys for them.
Wow.
I mean, why? And it was just really funny to me. And so in that sense, I realized I had a lot of confidence. I had a lot of, like, self-worth in middle school, to a degree, like, egotistic.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, people are, you're giving me your money to talk to these kids. They're not even great. I know these guys.
Yeah.
They're crap. You know? So I felt very
empowered.
Main character.
I got you.
You know? So in that sense, I felt popular. Yeah. Because even moving up into high school, I had people who were like, oh, can we be partners on this? Because I know you and you're cool. And so I was actually talking to one of my friends about this a couple weeks back, because when I think about, you know, you think about the kids who aren't popular, like the outcast kids, you know, you have an image in your head of what those kids look like.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who compares myself to a lot. You know, I do that. I compare to myself to other people. And in a middle school, I looked like one of those kids. I mean, very just not not outstanding in any kind of sense, not really, like, what's the word? Like, in the spotlight kind of deal. You know, I don't stand. Yeah. So I was questioning. I was like, I wonder how I became friends with all the people I became friends with, because it's so weird when you think about it. You're like, what made you come up to me in that sense? And then I realized what my middle school experience was. I was like, you know, it makes sense when you have one girl and a group of 15 boys.
Yeah.
And she's talking to all these guys.
That makes you the person. Yeah.
I mean, I was friends with this one guy who we're acquaintances. We're not really friends, but I would talk to him a lot. And like I said, the girls would be like, why are you talking to him? You know, he doesn't talk to any of the girls.
Yeah.
You know, wow. And I'd be like, it's really not that big of a deal.
Right.
It isn't. I played games with these guys after school. We called all the time. I mean, these were my friends. And it was just so weird.
Just different dynamic.
It was. And, you know, high school hit my freshman year. So we had all the different things. And I was forced to become friends with the girls.
Yeah.
Whole different world. Absolutely different world.
Wow.
So I have a ton of like female friends now, and I really didn't have any in middle school. But a lot of my friends, I was like, oh, did you know me? Like, did you know of me in middle school? Like it was the first time or whatever. And a lot of them said that they felt intimidated by me
because you talked to them.
Because I talked to the boys like I did.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
Talked a lot about my life here in this episode.
Yeah, this has been a Beth life episode. No, it's good. It's good.
But because this is a high school movie like it was, I thought it'd be just some explanation there. Yeah.
I mean, relative.
Because I mean, you and I would talk a lot about your high school experience,
sure,
and how you did a lot of things. So to me, it was like that for me in middle school. I mean, lockers and everything. Just all of it. I mean, the high school now. We were told 8th grade, if you touched your locker, you would be outcasted in high school. So none of us touch our lockers except for the weirdos. And there was only one kid that had an exception because he sold stuff. He would bring snacks in and sell it to the kids in the classes, and he kept all of it in his locker.
So here's the store,
which was not right. I think it was against the rules. I think he got called to the office once or twice, but it was really funny.
Nice.
But there's weird rules like that in high school. So when we watch movies like this, where it's like, you know, the popularity stuff, or, you know, kids getting stapled to billboards, it's like some of that doesn't change. Like shoving kids in lockers. Yeah. I did that. Did that to my friend John. We're best friends now, but I mean, I still pushed him into a locker. Yeah. That's just something that it's like generation passed down type deal. Yes. But when we have like lingo, none of the words that he used in this movie made sense to me.
Right. It's funny. It's different time. Yeah. And you think about that, it's 92 that this came out, and you have 02, 12. I mean, it'll be, 30 years next year that this movie came out different?
That makes me feel old.
Makes me feel old.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Movies always make me feel old when you name the thing on it, like Finding Nemo. When you think about when that movie came out.
I think you were 2 when Finding Nemo came out. We went to see that at the theater with some friends, and took you and their kids.
No, I actually was that year. I was born that year.
Well, then see, there you go.
It's 2003.
Yeah.
May 30th. I was a month.
Yeah. March, April, May. Yeah.
2 months.
2 months old. All right. You ready for some trivia?
Yes. Again, sorry about the little.
No. Rant. Look, every episode, I give history and I give facts and I give about me and about these and you don't necessarily have that opportunity like I did. This is your opportunity, man. People want to know. People want to know about you. People want to hear this stuff. It's good. It's good to talk about. So no, I'm glad that you did. I love that you talk and that you give your stories and everything like that. So no, definitely. So some trivia. Pauly Shore was originally going to be Link.
Shoot.
Oh.
Sorry. Favorite scene.
Oh.
Before we get to trivia, sorry. What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene.
Least favorite character, and then I went on my tangent. So.
Has to be when he's in the backyard and he's like, why is he fighting the dog? And he's not fighting the dog.
Oh, and it was on his shoulder.
He's got the dog up on his shoulder. He's like, why? Go ahead, yours.
Mine was wheezing the juice. Don't wheeze the juice.
Don't wheezing the juice. So
I like that scene.
Nice.
Okay.
So yeah, so Pauly Shore was originally going to be Link until the producers met Brendan Fraser.
Well, I'm glad he wasn't Link. That would not have fit for me.
However, they liked Pauly Shore so much that they created a role of Stoney for him.
Really? His role was created?
Yep. The majority of his lines are ad-libbed since they weren't in the original script.
Wow.
So
See, because he feels like a character that has to be there.
Right, you would think so, but
That's
yeah,
so
originally
funny
he
to me
wasn't
that
going
he
to be.
was. I wonder how that would have played out. Because,
Probably would not have done as well.
No, because having Dave in that scene where he's trying to get rid of Link, there would have been no one there to stop him. He would have had to done that on his own, where he's like, oh, you know what? Come on back. Come on back. That was...
Weird, huh?
That's weird. Yeah.
Here, this will get you. Jim Carrey and Nicolas Cage were both considered for the role of Link, but before Brendan Fraser was cast. Nicolas Cage or Jim Carrey were thought of for the position of Link. And once again, Jim Carrey and Nicolas Cage show up in like almost every friggin' movie. I don't know who their what do you call that? Not the producer, but their rep, their agent is. But their agent literally...
I'm so sorry.
Their agent...
I've never seen young Nick Cage.
Yeah, he's weird looking.
He is weird.
But their agent puts them in like every single movie that comes out. They're like, hey, you want Nick Cage? You want Jim Carrey?
That's what they're supposed to do, though.
Right.
Agents are supposed to do. He's got some better angles and some worse angles.
Yeah.
Nick Cage is...
I think you say this like this. Kiwi Kwan. I think it's Kiwi Kwan, who was in Goonies, and Sean Astin appear on screen together briefly in this movie. It makes the first and only time the original cast members of the Goonies appeared on screen together again. And of course, K1 Koi is Data, or as Beth calls him, Techno.
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 I still can't believe that's not his name.
Yeah.
I swear that's what they said.
In the scene where Brendan Fraser is eating from the dog bowl, he's actually eating Cookie Crisp cereal.
You know what? I thought that's what it was.
Yep. Me too when I was a kid. And when I looked this up and saw that, I was like, okay.
I thought that or Chex Mix.
I love Chex Mix.
I love Chex Mix.
So.
Not the brown little circles, though.
So.
Gross.
That's it for trivia.
That's all you have?
That's all I've got. Just a couple. Very short and sweet. Short and sweet movie. Short and sweet trivia. But I do have a contest follow-up. So we had a contest last week where people sent in guesses as for what our movie was going to be for this week that we were going to review. I have to say, someone guessed it in a freakish amount of time. Jody Sullivan was able to guess Encino Man after like 3 guesses with only 2 really vague hints that I gave. So congratulations to Jody. I hope you enjoy your prize you got. We're going to be holding another contest around episode 20 most likely. Unless we do something before, but that's what I'm thinking, for now. So be sure to listen to all of our episodes in the event that I ask a question pertaining to one of them, like we did last time. My clues that I gave were based off of the episodes that we had reviewed. Also, if you have any questions or comments, be sure to email us at the yesteryearpodcast@gmail.com. And that's all together, no spaces, nothing like that. The yesteryearpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to get some emails, some thoughts, some anything you got, man. I mean, you want to tell us, hey, you guys are doing a great job. You want to say you're doing a bad job. You want to say, we want to hear more Beth. We want to hear less Beth. I don't know. Whatever you want to say. We love to get the emails. I love to get them. We'll respond back.
I might cry if you say that.
We get a lot of Facebook traffic, and I appreciate that, and that's fine, and I get that's a lot easier. That's the world that we live in.
We do get a lot of Facebook traffic, which I always find really interesting because there's people we don't know on there.
Yeah. So. which is cool. I mean, so I'm not dogging out anybody on Facebook. I'm simply saying we would like to see some emails too. So, you got anything else?
I do not.
All right, we're going to wrap this up tonight. I'd like to thank everyone for stopping by and listening to our 15th episode. We deeply, deeply, said it right this time, appreciate it. Definitely. More than you could imagine. And of course, the best way to show us your love is to give us a 5-star review on iTunes. And Biscuit Head, I almost forgot that we did get a new iTunes review. And I meant to read that. Give me 1 second and I will. So, this is from Tasha Dreadful. And it says, the 80s, baby. It says, this show is nostalgia in a bottle. James and his hilarious sidekick, Beth, take you through the movies that made the 80s so rad. 5 stars, double thumbs up, way up. Most excellent podcast. Just want to say, that's the second or third kudos I've got about how funny Beth is.
I don't even try.
So, yeah. You know, let's give some love my way too, okay?
Most of the week, I mean, we do this on Sundays. It's the end of the week for me. I work pretty much all week. I mean, so do you, but you have the weekends off most of the time. But I'm usually tired when we get to, I mean, always tired Sundays. So for me, we do these and I'm just kind of like, oh, well, I hope for the best. And I never think I'm going to end up talking as much as I do. Especially lately, I've been trying to get more out there. But, you know, we get certain stuff back. Like, I mean, you could take the beaver joke as an example. I was terrified because after we had done with that, you were like, dude face. I mean, you were not pleased. You were like, you went on forever about that stupid beaver. I mean, and I'm scared with my humor because I'm younger. I'm like, oh, well, people might not find this as funny because I'm younger and it's just stupid Animorph joke. But no, people love that. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, people who I've never even talked to were talking to you about that.
Look, the point is that you've got you've got me, and if people are listening to this show, they clearly like us about it. So definitely give your humor, man.
Yeah.
I love it 100%. Even the beaver. So you can do like Tasha did. Stop by, give us a 5-star. That's mostly appreciated. Most appreciated.
Send us an email that you've done it, and
yes,
we'll send you a sticker.
And I'll need that. Please do that. Please email me your information so that we can mail you your sticker out for giving us your review. Otherwise, I'm going to harass you with emails and say, hey, give me your information.
Your credit card information.
Credit card information and social. All of that information would be great. And then you'll start seeing weird things pop up on your credit.
Don't question them.
Yeah, don't question them. Just go with it. So you can send us emails, as I said, to the yesteryearpodcast@gmail.com. Twitter.com is twitter.com/yesteryearpcast. Instagram.com/yesteryearpodcast. Facebook.com/yesteryearpodcast. We do have our own private group, which is the Truffle Shufflers. Our secret question is the host names, James and Beth, which we did get some new members recently. I love that we're growing. That's so awesome. We got listeners all over the world. We're really big in Mexico, which blows my... Yes, there's like 6 or 7 different locations. If you're one of our Mexican listeners, I would say that you're in Mexico or South America or whatever. Definitely hit us up, man. Send us an email and say, hey, we're down here in this and we love you guys, and I'll get you a sticker. It'd be great.
If you're in jail listening to us.
I
would like to know that as well.
Yeah, email us and say, hey,
I know some podcasts.
I'm on Cell Block D and we love you.
And depending on what your crime is, we might not love you back, but
what would be great too? If definitely with the whole COVID-19 thing going on right now, and, if you listen to future episodes, you'll know what we're talking about, I'd assume. I would like to know what you're doing when you listen to our episodes. I am working my second job when I listen to podcasts, and that's when I listen the most. And I would like to know, what do you do when you listen to us?
I listen to music at my job. But occasionally when I get sick of my music, I do switch over and I listen to podcasts for a couple of weeks. But I usually listen to more of true crime and scary stories. But
to get personal on it, I would have loved, when I went through chemo treatments, I would have loved to have had podcasts to listen to.
On a couple of the ones I've listened to, they say that they have listeners who write them and tell them that they, during their cancer or when somebody has died, they are looking for that humor, and so they turn to those people on the podcast that are funny. Like, we listen to you to get our spirits back up. Yeah, and I always think that's very cool.
And I would love to be that for somebody. I hope that we are. If you're out there and you're down, I hope that you say, you know what, I can listen to this podcast and I can at least get a laugh and get away from my troubles for a while. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, the other night actually, I had made a sandwich. Or actually, I got an...
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
On Snapchat, it sends you like a year ago type deal memories. Kind of, it does it on Facebook as well, but on Snapchat, I had a video where I had made a sandwich, and I had put Doritos on the plates with it, and I eat in my bedroom. But in the video, I was crying because I had slid all the Doritos off the plate getting into bed, and they were on the bed sheet, and I was like, this is the last straw. And I would have loved to have a podcast there for me to laugh at. So
Nice.
if you do that, if you dropped all your Doritos on the bed and they left a stain on your bed sheets, write us. Let us know.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to know that stuff. Our website is yesteryearpodcast.buzzsprout.com. Our Patreon, if you would like to get on some of those Patreon episodes, I'm telling you, I've got.
They're really funny.
We are building the library up, and it's definitely a cool way to support the show. It's patreon.com/The Nostalgia Group. Of course, a shout out to Greg Revan for our music that we does for our shows. We love that guy, and he does great things for us. All right. If there's nothing else, I will say we love you, and we'll say good night.
Good night, everyone.